Welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're looking at something that's been around for centuries, Psalm 23.
Oh, yeah, it's a classic.
And we'll be using a YouTube video to guide our exploration. It's
Yep.
called Psalm 23 Prayer. Find strength in God's love morning prayer to start your day.
Okay.
And this video, it uses the psalm as like a framework for a morning prayer, inviting you to connect with this ancient text, on a personal level.
I like that.
Have you ever, wondered how a psalm written so long ago can still mean so much to us today?
It's a good question. I think a lot of people think that.
Well, this video, I think, sheds some light on that.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how this video brings the ancient world like right into our modern lives. It makes this text, which, could feel really old and out of touch, feel, well, relevant.
And personal?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what really struck me, too. The video doesn't just explain Psalm 23. It invites you to, experience it.
Yeah.
And one of the most powerful ways it does that is through the shepherd analogy, which is at the heart of both the song and the video.
It's so brilliant, isn't it, this shepherd analogy? It really goes beyond time and culture.
It really does.
Even if someone's never even seen a sheep, they can, I think, immediately understand this picture of a shepherd taking care of their flock.
Yeah.
And the video even breaks it down further, explaining how the shepherd leads, restores, protects, feeds, and loves the sheep.
Yeah, and it connects each of those actions to God's actions towards us.
Right.
I see the beauty in that analogy, I do, but I also wonder if maybe it oversimplifies things.
Yeah.
I mean, God's role, I think, in our lives is so much more complex
Right.
than a shepherd just tending their sheep.
You're right. You're absolutely right. It's not meant to be like a literal one-to-one.
Yeah.
But it does give us a way to grasp God's love and care, right? Like a starting point, maybe?
Okay, yeah.
It gives us a foundation to build a deeper understanding.
I like that, a starting point.
Yeah.
It's about finding those things, those points that connect with us,
Mm.
and then using those as stepping stones
I like that.
to really explore the deeper meaning.
Exactly. That's what this video does so well. Takes something we all know, like a shepherd, and uses it to show deeper truths about God's relationship with us.
Deeper truths. Well, the video definitely spent some time unpacking that powerful verse about walking through the valley of the shadow of death.
Oh, for sure.
What are your thoughts on that verse? It can be interpreted in so many ways, I think.
It really can. It's comforted and challenged people for, centuries, right?
For sure.
I think it speaks to everyone's experience of facing darkness and uncertainty in life. But the video really emphasizes that even when we're in those dark valleys, we're not alone. God is there.
But I'm not sure I totally agree with the shadow of death only meaning, literal death. I think it could also represent those metaphorical dark times we all go through. Loss, grief, those moments when we feel lost.
Well, that's really insightful, I think. And it makes the message of the psalm even more powerful.
Yes.
It's not just about facing actual death, but any challenge
Right.
that's overwhelming.
Exactly.
And we're reminded that we have a shepherd walking right there beside us,
Yeah.
giving us guidance, giving us strength.
The video uses this analogy about the shadow, that the only way you can see a shadow is if there's light behind you.
It's true.
And obviously that light represents God.
Right.
That stuck with me.
It's such a strong image, isn't it? It changes how we look at those tough times. Instead of just being overwhelmed by the darkness, we can remember that there's a source of light and hope behind us, lighting the way forward.
It makes you realize that the psalm isn't just about comfort, it's also about courage.
Yes.
It's about facing those dark valleys with the confidence that, we're not alone.
And that confidence is rooted, I think, in the identity of the writer King David.
Right.
Before he was king, he spent years as a shepherd.
It adds another layer, doesn't it?
It really does. It's one
Right.
thing to write about a shepherd, from
Yeah.
a distance. But David, he lived it. He knew the dangers.
Right.
And he knew, how protective a good shepherd is.
Absolutely. When he talks about walking through the valley of the shadow of death, he's not just offering comforting words. He's drawing on his own life.
Exactly.
He's speaking from experience. And that gives his words, I think, so much more weight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of experience, I think what makes this psalm so relatable is that it speaks to both the good times and the bad.
Yes.
It acknowledges that we face challenges,
Right.
but also celebrates the abundance of God's blessings. And that brings us to another theme that's explored in this video, the idea of goodness and mercy.
Yeah.
The video spends some time on verse 6, which says, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever."
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? What does it mean for goodness and mercy to, like, follow us?
What a great question. What I really appreciate about this video is that it doesn't shy away from, like, the complexities of that.
Yeah.
The speaker makes it clear that this doesn't mean life is going to be easy, you know. We'll still face challenges,
Right.
but the verse assures us that even with those challenges, God's presence and care are constant.
So it's not about avoiding the hard things, but getting through them with, like, a sense of peace.
Exactly. Finding strength and solace in God's, like, unwavering presence,
Yeah.
even when things feel chaotic and uncertain.
It's interesting you say chaos and uncertainty.
Yeah.
Because that's what the video seems to address.
Mm-hmm.
It speaks directly to those who might be feeling overwhelmed, lost, reminding them that they're seen, loved, and cared for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And that really stood out to me, the emphasis on, you know, not just some kind of trouble-free life, but more like that God's with us even when things are tough.
You said earlier that the video doesn't try to sugarcoat things.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we reconcile that, like, that promise of goodness and mercy with, well, with the reality of suffering, right?
Yeah.
If goodness and mercy really do follow us all the time, then why do we still go through pain and hardship?
That is the question, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a question that's been around for a long, long time.
for sure.
I don't think there's an easy answer. But maybe the key is in understanding that goodness and mercy, well, they don't have to mean no suffering at all.
Okay.
Maybe they show up in different ways.
Okay.
Maybe it's strength to get through the hard times, or comfort from others, or the hope that keeps us going, even when things are really dark.
That makes sense. It's not about, like, escaping suffering,
Mm.
but going through it knowing we're not alone.
Yeah. And that shepherd analogy we talked about, I mean, it's not perfect,
Right.
but it can help us understand this, I think. A shepherd doesn't, like, protect their sheep from everything, right?
Right.
There'll be storms, there'll be, you know, wolves. Yes, predators. But the shepherd is there to guide them through it, to protect them and help them get back to safety.
And that's where that personal connection comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
The psalm isn't just talking generally. It's talking to me,
Right.
to each person. And the video, it highlights that.
Oh, absolutely. The speaker in the video, like, talks directly to the viewer,
Yeah.
making it clear that God's goodness and mercy are for them.
Yeah.
It's like a personal promise, you know.
It is.
We're not just part of a crowd. God sees us, knows us, cares for us.
As individuals.
Yes, exactly.
It's really comforting, I think, especially in a world that can feel, I don't know, impersonal.
Oh, it is. And it challenges us too, I think, to
True.
shift our perspective. Instead of focusing on the problems, we can choose to focus on the goodness and mercy, even when things are hard.
Right.
It's a choice, really.
It's like that saying, focus on the good. It's hard sometimes,
It is.
but that's where faith comes in, isn't
It is. It is.
It's about believing that even when we can't see it, God's goodness and mercy are there.
You said that so well. Faith isn't pretending suffering doesn't exist. It's about believing in something bigger, something beyond our circumstances.
And I think that's what Psalm 23 gives us. Hope, reassurance, a reminder that we're not alone in those tough times.
That's it.
You know, there's this part near the end of the video that, I don't know, it stood out to me. The speaker connects that valley imagery to the idea of being led by still waters into green pastures.
Yeah.
It's like a journey from dark to light.
From hard to good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something I've always thought about Psalm 23. It's not just about finding comfort,
Right.
but it's also about experiencing the full life that God offers.
Yeah.
Green pastures, still waters, they speak to a feeling of peace, you know, like being nourished,
Yeah.
abundance. It's not just survival, it's thriving.
That's an important point. It's not just getting by.
Right.
It's about the life that God wants for us. And that includes joy and peace and abundance.
Yeah. It's not about avoiding hard things. It's about a life
Mm-hmm.
that has it all.
Exactly.
Highs and lows. And God's with us through it.
That's it. And the video really captures that.
Yeah.
It doesn't ignore the hard things, but it also gives us this message of hope.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we all need today.
Before we finish up, I wanted to talk about the prayer at the end of this video.
Yeah.
It seems like it brings together everything we've talked about.
Right.
Gratitude for God's guidance,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging we need strength, peace, and a real trust in God.
Yeah, it's a very honest prayer.
Yeah.
It acknowledges the struggles, but it also expresses this like deep trust in God's love and care.
All right.
I think it's a prayer that, well, a lot of people can relate to.
I think what makes it so strong is that it invites you to make it your own.
Yeah.
It's not just words on a page.
Yeah.
It's like a way to think about your own connection to God.
And that's something we can all benefit from, right? Taking time to just pause,
Yeah.
reflect, and connect with something bigger.
For
Whether it's prayer, meditation, just being in nature, those moments can be really grounding.
Absolutely. So for our listener who's been with us on this whole deep dive into Psalm 23, what would you say is the most important takeaway?
Well, I think the main thing is that Psalm 23, it invites us to see God as our shepherd.
That is a beautiful image,
Yeah.
especially in a world that feels so, so chaotic. Like, it's comforting to know that there's someone guiding us, protecting us,
Yeah.
leading us towards, green pastures and still waters.
That's a great way to put it. It's not about pretending the hard things don't exist. It's about facing them, knowing we're not alone. Our shepherd's with us every step of the way.
What about you? What stood out to you today? What really resonated?
For me, it's realizing that Psalm 23 isn't just about finding comfort in God, but it's also about experiencing like the full life that God wants for us. Those green pastures, the still waters, they're about peace, nourishment,
It's
abundance.
about more than just surviving.
It is. It is. It's a reminder that even when things are tough, there's still so much beauty and good to be found.
That connects back to what we were saying earlier about goodness and mercy following us.
Yeah.
It's not that there won't be hard times. It's about experiencing those moments of grace, even during those struggles.
Exactly. And I think that's such an important message for everyone listening, no matter what you're facing, no matter how lost you feel, remember that you're not alone. There's a shepherd guiding you, protecting you, leading you towards a life that's, well, rich and full with all its ups and downs.
That was beautifully said.
Mm.
And for anyone who wants to dive deeper, I really recommend checking out that YouTube video we talked about, Psalm 23 prayer. Find strength in God's love morning prayer to start your day. It's a great resource, especially if you're looking to connect with this psalm on a personal level.
I'd also say take some time, read Psalm 23 for yourself.
Yeah.
Slowly, really think about the words. And I don't know, imagine how that shepherd analogy might change how you see things, how you face challenges, or how you find comfort in God.
It's a great point.
Yeah.
It's not just about hearing what someone else thinks. It's about engaging with it yourself, letting it speak to you directly.
Let the words sink in.
Yeah.
Let them challenge you, comfort you, and inspire you.
Well, there you have it, our deep dive into Psalm 23. We hope you got something out of it and that you'll keep exploring this amazing ancient text. Thanks for joining us.